Hello and welcome to The Writer's Mindset with me, Christina Adams.
And me, Ellie Betts.
Each week, we're here to help you persevere through the tough times, be your most productive self, and get that work in progress published.
Wherever you are in your publishing journey, we've got your back. Today, I will be speaking to Clarissa Gosling about writing habits and accountability. Big shout out to our podcast patrons for all of your support.
As a patron, you'll get early access to episodes, the chance to submit questions for our guests, and access to our bonus series, Healthy Habits.
Healthy habits isn't your typical productivity advice. We're not here to tell you to get up at 4 a.m. and go for a 3-hour run.
Hell no. We're exploring the latest research to find small changes you can make in your life to be happier, healthier, and more productive in your writing life and beyond.
To start developing healthier habits today, come join our community at patreon.com/writers mindset. Hello, Clarissa. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing all right, thank you. Yes, it's good to be here with you.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Just for our lovely listeners then who are listening along at the moment, I'm sure, could you just let us know who you are and what is it that you do, please?
Sure, I'm a young adult fantasy writer. I'm also admin for the 365 Writing Challenge, which is one of the reasons why I'm here to talk to you. In all that aside, I live in the Netherlands with my family, though I am originally from the UK as well. So I think that's, yeah, I used to be a librarian. What else do you want to know?
That's the coolest fact. I would love to be a librarian. I think that would be so good.
I was a university librarian, not a public librarian. So it's slightly different.
Is that better or worse?
I don't know. I've only done one of them. I can't really compare.
Fair enough. So yes, writing habits today, which we've mentioned a few times, but I think we're going to talk about it in a slightly different way today. So just to clarify then, from your point of view, how would you describe a writing habit?
Well, a writing habit is just like any other habit. It's something that you do regularly, whether it's something you do every day or twice a day, like brushing your teeth, or whether it's something you do once a week or once a month or however it works. It's just something that you do without really thinking about it. And habits can be powerful in helping you do the things that you want to do, but they can also work against you. So it's a question of learning how to manage your habits as well as in all aspects of your life, not just writing or anything else. So that's the power of habits. And with the 365 writing challenge, what we're trying to do is help people build the habit of writing regularly, whatever that means to them.
That's good. So my next question then is, do writing habits make a difference? But I'm going to assume you're going to say yes on that one.
Yes.
And you've seen the power of that through witnessing people do it, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's very easy to talk about what you're going to do, but to actually sit down and do it regularly. I mean, I talked for years about writing more. I had a blog. It's still probably around somewhere if anybody really, really wants to go digging. And every year I'd put up a New Year's resolutions post of, this is what I want to do. And for years it was always, I want to write more. And whether that, I was never all that specific, whether it meant I just want to blog more regularly, or whether it was, I want to write fiction stories. I've always had ideas for stories. I have notebooks full of ideas about, oh, this would be a cool character, or what if this happened, or just like random sentences that probably made sense to me at the time, I hope, but now don't really make any sense. Or like I'd draw floor plans of made up houses because that was cool. But it wasn't until I actually joined the 365 Writing Challenge that I actually went, okay, if I'm going to do this, I actually have to write, don't I?
Probably, yes. But having said that, I'm guilty of doing the same thing. I'm very good at deciding that I'm going to write. I'm very good at deciding that I'm going to write this much this week, or, work on these chapters or work on this section. It's the following through and doing it that's the hard part, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of creating that habit then, does it have to be daily? Does it have to be a certain number of days a week? Is there a certain way of doing it in that regard that works best?
I would say no, it doesn't have to be daily. Some people, it has to be daily. I mean, it depends on what you're like. I'm a big fan of Becca Syme and the Strength for Writers and tapping into how you work best. And it's a question of understanding yourself. What is it? Do you work best if you write every day? Does it have to be every day, or could it be during the week, or can it just be weekends? Or do you work best when actually you spend a week or a month thinking about it when you walk the dog, and then only in the end of that time do you actually come and put pen to paper or keys to the keyboard and actually write it out? Writing isn't just sitting at the keyboard or with your pen on paper typing. There's a whole lot of other things that go into that. The quiet work behind, where you're contemplating your story and everything else that goes into it. Does that answer the question? I think I got a bit lost in the way.
I agree. I think there's a certain element of that thinking about it that goes into the writing, sort of pre-writing writing. But for me personally, and I don't know if this is true for other people, I sometimes can't be bothered to write, or don't get the time to write, and think, well, I'm still thinking about it, I'm still doing it. I want to make sure I'm not just thinking about it, and I need to push myself to actually do the writing as well.
Yeah, it's finding that balance between, do I actually need to do more thinking, or am I using this as procrastination to get out of, actually I need to do the writing now? And that's a question you can only answer for yourself.
I think you just answered it for me as well. Yes, I'm procrastinating.
Yeah. One of the things I like about the 365 writing challenge, unlike Nano, which is about to start, is that we don't care what the writing is. Nano is all about one project and doing it in a set time frame. Whereas we're looking for building habits and doing it for the long haul. It's not just a month and then burn out. If you write blog posts, or if you write journal article, or if you just journal and write stream of consciousness, whatever you're thinking about, you can write your daily word count as like stream of consciousness journaling about all the problems you're having with your story. And for us, that would still count. As long as you're consistent with what you include in your word count and not, it's still writing, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense, and brings us quite nicely onto my next point, which was how important is word count? If you're building a daily writing habit, do you have to set a certain word count and hit that every day, or can word count sort of be a secondary factor?
I think it depends. Within the 365 writing challenge, we ask everybody to set a weekly word count goal. And also to say how many days a week they're going to work. And then we have a shared spreadsheet where you go in and put in your line and say, okay, well, this week I wrote this many words and I worked on this many days, as a way of keeping accountability. But it isn't, that's a goal in the sense that all goals are, that some weeks you'll write more than that and some weeks you'll write less than that. It's not necessarily looking at each week or each day in isolation. Maybe you don't write anything one day because when you're meant to, because something else happened. There's the rest of the year. It's that, okay, you learning what to do or how you come back to it when you've taken a break can be as valuable as just sticking out and sitting down and writing your 100, 500, 1,000 words, or however many you've set for each day. The word count goal is just there as a way to help you. It's a marker for you to say, okay, that's what I want to do. Does that?
Yeah, no, that's really good, because I feel like I've set myself daily word count goals in the past, and as soon as I get to the point where I'm not hitting it one day, you want to give up for the rest of the week, don't you? Or maybe that's just me, just self-sabotaging, but having that strict number hanging over you every day can feel like a lot. Even if you can write those words, sometimes the pressure of them being there, that number being there, can be counterproductive. If it's over a week, some days it's going to be more and some days it's going to be less. It gives you that little bit more freedom.
And there are some people who want goals that they can hit easily, so they feel like they're always getting it and they have that sense of accomplishment, and then they can go above it. And there are other people who want goals that they have to work for every day or every week. That is that little stretch to push them further. And you need to learn which one you are, because if you do it the wrong way round, then it's incredibly demotivating.
Exactly. And I suppose that's a bit of trial and error to work out where you stand on that scale.
Yeah.
When it comes to deciding what you want your writing habits to be, then when it comes to, sitting down and planning it out, what are the key factors in building those successful habits?
I think it's a question of being realistic. What is it that you can actually achieve? How much time can you commit to your writing? We're talking about writing. I mean, this is the same for any other habit, but if we're talking about writing, how much time can you commit to your writing? And don't assume that every day is going to be a good day. You need to plan in, or like assume that you're going to have some days or weeks or months that are not optimal. If your maximum is writing 2,000 words an hour, you can't assume that you're going to write 2,000 words an hour every hour that you sit down to write at a computer for a year, because that's just not going to happen. Other things will happen. Your children will get ill and you have to reschedule everything, as happened with us, or whatever else. There's always something that's going to happen. It's going to snow and you can't do anything, or whatever. There's always things that you feel ill. So you need to start from a point of being realistic. You also need to realize you need downtime. Just because you have like 2 hours free every day doesn't mean that you can automatically fill those 2 hours with writing. You need to take some time to relax and to chill out and look after yourself, because you're important.
That's true. I suppose you can't just decide you're going to write 2,000 words every hour that you want to do it, like you say, especially if you're not taking care of yourself in between. Yes, you may be able to write those 2,000 words in an hour sometimes when you're at optimum performance level, but you've got to maintain your own mental health, physical health in order to be at optimum performance level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you've spoken about the 365 writing challenge a couple of times and the accountability of that. That's what I'm quite curious about. Do you think that accountability makes a big difference in terms of people keeping to those writing habits and hitting their writing goals?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps, because you've got somebody there looking out for you, somebody who will cheer you on when you're not. Cheer you on when you're hitting your goals, but also be there going, hey, come on, what's going on? How are you doing? What can we do to help when you're not? So it's that balance of, having a supporter, but also somebody who's there to cheer you on when you're not feeling it so much.
Yeah, I think, well, for me, accountability makes a difference, because I am very good at letting myself down. As I don't mean that to sound really sad, but it's very easy to say, I'm going to write 1,000 words today, and then you get to the end of the day and go, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Whereas I've found in the past, in terms of accountability, if, say, me and Christina decide to have like a writing session together, we don't live too close, so it's normally virtually, but if we sit down and have that accountability for each other, I'll just turn up and go, oh, okay, it's time to write now, and just do it. So having that someone there who I have to turn up for makes a difference for me. Do you see the same thing in the groups?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, personally for me as well, I find it very easy to ignore deadlines I set myself, but deadlines I've set for other people, I have to work to hit those, which is why I put my books up on very long pre-order, so that I have to do it because I have a date that I have to do it all for, even if it all gets a bit stressed and frantic at the end, because it always gets left to the last minute, however much slack you leave in the schedule to do it.
The looming deadline pushes you forwards, gives you the accountability.
Yes.
That's a hardcore way of doing it, though, like having the deadline online already for like Amazon, I'm assuming, and places like that. Does that work for you, having that hard deadline like that?
Yes. Otherwise it just, I mean,
scary.
I put it for a year out, and certainly when I first started doing it, I had the book already written, so I had to edit it. And then, it gave me the end point. And then you work backwards from there. Okay, so when do I need to send it to my editor? Okay, so when do I need to send it to my beta readers? Okay, so that means that this is the date at which I have to have finished going through my edits by.
I mean,
doesn't work for everybody. Some people hate.
I was going to say, that's impressive. I like that. I personally wouldn't consider doing that. So I think it's quite interesting that you find that works for you. Like you said, it's never going to work for everyone. But that's another interesting way of considering the accountability, I suppose, is having that date looming. Oh, the pressure, I couldn't do it. good to, not all of these things have to work for me, right? That we're
No.
educating our listeners of ideas and things to try. So it's good that
Yeah.
you've got a completely different one there. Perfect.
Yeah, the first year I did it was 2020, and then of course the kids all got sent home from school, and then I was trying to homeschool at the same time as edit this book.
Goodness, oh my.
It was a bit crazy, but it worked. We all
Quite a
worked out in
lot.
the end. Nobody killed each other.
Out of interest, do your kids encourage you to write? Are they your little accountability buddies too?
They do that. My son has introduced me to people as this is my mum. She writes books that nobody reads, which is a bit harsh.
Right where it hurts. Oh, so mean.
But no, we did a local event here a couple of months no, a month ago, and I had like the stall out with my books. I had like bookmarks that I was giving out to everybody as they walked past, and my son took over. He did really well at giving out bookmarks to everybody that came past. I'm like, cool, yeah, I'll hire you for this. So he's very excited. They had an author come into school a few weeks ago to talk about writing and books and whatever, and they both go, oh yeah, my mum writes. Oh yes. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
That's cute. So in terms of yourself then, obviously I assume you've had ups and downs with your own productivity and things in the past. How did your writing and your productivity change after committing to that accountability in the 365 writing challenge?
It was the thing that actually made me start writing, because I mean, it's an annual challenge, so it starts in January and runs through till December for the year. And I signed up for it in the autumn, in like November or something, and I set my goal really low to start with, because I still had the kids were at home, and so it was like, right, I'm going to write 100 words a day in a notebook with a pen, because opening up the computer and turning it on just was too much of a commitment at that time. So like, right, I'm going to write a page of my notebook every day. And I did. Well, I did until I reached the point that actually you need a lot of notebooks to write a novel. And then so yeah, after a couple of months I switched over to actually typing and doing it. I raised my goals a bit more, because that's not very much, and I realized that I could do it. But it was the signing up for the challenge was what started me writing. Before then, all I'd done was like talk about it and come up with ideas and write a little bit, but then put it down and never pick it up again.
That's interesting. I like that you started with the notebook, because that felt easier. Something we've talked about a few times on the podcast is removing barriers to entry. So like if you feel like a task is really big, but you can sort of do it a slightly different way and come in a different way to make it easier to start, that makes a world of difference, right? Because you're doing so much more already and just making it a bit easier for yourself, right?
Yeah, definitely. And so it's important not to compare your goals to other people, because you're not in the same position as them. So it's not a contest. You're not competing with anybody else except yourself.
In terms of the 365 writing challenge then, do you think that kind of challenge is for everyone? Do you think it works for everyone and it's adaptable for everyone? Or is the format just not suitable for certain people?
I'd like to say it's available for everyone and everybody could get it to work for them, but I'm also realistic that I don't think there's anything that works for absolutely everybody. So it's a question of knowing yourself and knowing what you need. There are lots of people who already have writing habits and are already doing however much a day or a week, and they're looking at ways of pushing their own productivity, but they already have the habits. Or there are other people who prefer to do things on their own, or they prefer to do things with people that they meet up with in real life and talk to, or they want more of a one-on-one connection. Whereas this is, although we run it into smaller groups within the whole group of everybody, it is still quite a large group of people across the world who, when you first come in, you don't necessarily know anything about very many of them. It's a question of what, if you feel that this is something that would help you, then yes, please check it out, sign up for it. We're excited to have new people, but if you think it sounds like the worst thing in the world and you could never use it and it would be just horrible, and no, then that's fine too.
That's good. I like that you gave a realistic answer and not just everyone should do this, because like you say, it's not realistic, is it?
Yeah, and if people are wanting to write and they're looking to build habits, and that's where they are at the moment, that they're I don't want to say struggling, but they want to be doing more than they currently are, then I do believe the 365 writing challenge is a great thing that they could try out or they could think about. It's not going to be the one gift to everybody. And even if you sign up and you go for it, you still need to work at it. You know, it still needs your commitment and for you to actually do the writing and do the things. However many tools and however many things we can have to try and help you, you've still got to do the work.
Absolutely. You can have as many tools as you like in the world, right? But unless you're going to pick them up and put in the work and start digging, they're not going to do anything for you.
No. As the same with anything, whether we're talking about writing or whether we're talking about exercising or eating better or, you know, sleeping more. It's still, we all know these things are good for us and are what we feel we should be doing. It doesn't mean that we're all going out and doing it because
guilty.
Yeah.
I've got many tools for many things.
Yes.
What would be your advice then to someone like me, I admit, who is very good at starting writing habits and deciding upon writing habits and not actually maintaining them and sticking to them?
First of all, I would look at what you are trying to do and think, is this actually realistic? You know, are you trying to run before you can walk? You know, you look at how much time you have, what you can actually achieve realistically in that time. And maybe you're setting your goals too high, and that's why you're not hitting them and feeling demotivated. Or maybe you're setting your goals too low and you're hitting them too easily, and that's making you demotivated as well. You know, you need to have some sort of self-assessment or of looking at that and really thinking, reflecting on why it is that you're not doing it. Is it just that you've got too much other stuff going on, you know, emotionally, physically, mentally, that maybe you don't have space for it right now, and you need to take a step back and think, actually, I need to put this on hold until whatever big crisis is overcome. And but if all the rest of that is fine, you know you have this certain amount of time and you feel that actually that is realistically to commit, then I would certainly say look at finding somebody who can help you keep you accountable for that. And whether that's a 365 writing challenge, you know, we'd love to have you. Do look into it. Sign-ups for 2023 will be opening soon. So, yeah, do come and have a look at us and see what we offer. And if you think that would be a good fit for you, then great. There are some other groups that do similar things as well. So I know we're not the only one who've thought of this, but yeah, I mean, for everything, you know, any sort of goal setting, one of the first things that people say is make it public, and we are a way of doing that in safety, if that's the right way to put it.
It's like sandbox public kind of thing, not real public. Yeah. Because I've done that before as well. I've said like online, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I've said it in like the podcast group and stuff. And I do start, I do it with the best intentions, and I do go and try, and I just fall off after a few days, unfortunately. So I'm considering joining. Yeah. We have a lot of our listeners who are writers but are juggling other things at the same time, like a lot of full-time jobs or part-time jobs, raising kids, a million other things in between. What would you say to someone like that who says they don't have time for a scheduled writing habit?
Maybe they don't. And again, you need to be realistic at this time in your life. The only person who knows what time you have available is you. And, you know, look at your weekly schedule, whatever you do, and is there time in there? You know, you need time with your friends, you need time with your family, you need time to chill out and relax. And then you need to have time for whatever other responsibilities you have, whether that's at work, whether that's family, or, you know, community, or whatever else you're doing, and work out what you have. I mean, if it helps you, choose a minimal goal. You know, I set 100 words a day. That's a very, very small goal. But if you write 100 words a day, you've got every day for a year, you've then got, you know, whatever it is, 30,000, no, nearly 31,000 words at the end of a year. And that's coming up for half a novel. You know, if you just do a little bit consistently, it builds. it's looking at doing things for the long term rather than trying to do it quickly and burning out, which is a big problem with Nano. Nano is great. I love Nano. It puts so much excitement and enthusiasm, and so many people try writing because of Nano. This is Nano, the National Novel Writing Month, that I'm sure hopefully most people have heard about. Anyway, if you haven't, it starts on November the 1st.
I tried Nano once and I didn't finish, which I probably blamed at the time on not doing the writing habit, to be honest with you. But I think it was the pressure of like, everyone else is doing it, why can't I do this? You know, everyone else is doing 1,600 words a day or whatever it is. Why can't I do it? Why can't I, get there? But I still learned a lot from it. I actually wrote a blog post on it years ago when I did it about how I failed, but I was happy to have failed because I still progressed. I still learned something about myself and my writing, and I still got the start of the foundations of a story out of it that I can work on at some point. But I don't know that I'd recommend NaNoWriMo to people.
No, I mean, certainly people who haven't written very much otherwise, and then to jump in and try and, I mean, it's like 1,667 words a day on average, but that's actually quite a lot, especially if you're doing a lot of other stuff.
I know an author who we had on recently, actually, L.L. McRae. She writes quite long novels, so longer than 50,000 words, but she uses Nano and kind of the hype around it as like a booster, or at least she has in previous years. I don't know if she does it every year, but using it to kind of like get people excited for writing together and have that little bit of accountability and a little bit of boost together. But it just added 50,000 words to like a 200,000 word novel, So
yes, definitely. And it's a question of, like, with everything, you use the tools in the way that works for you. And I don't officially do Nano really, but because the November is always really difficult month because there's always so much other stuff going on and getting ready for Christmas and family birthdays, and we live in the Netherlands and there's Sinterklaas, who is not Santa. It's very confusing. And the camps are in April and June, and is it June or July? Anyway, it's like, those are like not good months. Why are they those months? Just put them a different month.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. I actually write on For the Words, which is a gamified RPG for writing. And they have big events running in the 3 Nano months. So I use those to try and boost whatever I'm doing that month, whether it's writing or whether it's editing or however I'm doing it. I'm actually going to be starting writing next week, which is very exciting because I haven't actually written in a Nano month for a long time. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Good. You get to join in on all the hype without the pressure of the Nano 1,660 odd words a day.
Yeah.
Perfect. In which case then we will move on to the most important question of our whole interview, which is, which book changed your life?
I think my first novel that I published, because it proved to me that I could actually do it. And it has dragons in it, and dragons are cool. I love dragons.
We're a big fan of dragons over here. What did it prove to you though? What did it change? Did it push you further and make you realize you can do it? Was it that kind of thing?
Absolutely. And I can do it, and I put it out there for other people, and other people liked it, and it's like, yes, actually this is a great feeling. I love having my book. I've even got the poster of the cover behind me, so it's like
That's very cool. That's very cool. I like that. What's the title? Just show everyone.
Yes, because we do video. It's called, it's probably going to be backwards, but it's called Dragon Shift.
Dragon Shift. Perfect. It's just a little cheeky advertising of the book in there. Got to get it in.
book 3, final book in the trilogy, released on Wednesday. So that was very exciting as well.
Perfect. Okay. Where can our lovely listeners go to find out more about you?
They can go to my website, which is clarissagosling.com, and that has all the information about me and my books and how to contact me. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok if you want to find me on there. I'm Clarissa H. Gosling on Instagram, and I'm Clarissa Gosling on TikTok. Somebody had Clarissa Gosling already on Instagram. It's quite outrageous, really.
Unacceptable.
I know. So I had to put my middle initial in there. So it's got an H on Instagram. Otherwise, most other places, I'm just my name.
Fair enough. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us some great tips about building writing habits and accountability.
Thank you for having me.
If you found this episode interesting or helpful, make sure you subscribe to The Writer's Mindset on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform, or all of them. We don't mind.
Everything from a like to a rating to a review to a subscribe to shouting about us on social media helps us to reach more writers so that they can overcome the mindset issues that are holding them back with their writing too.
If you're on social media, come join us on Instagram at Writers Mindset Pod, or join our Facebook group, which you can find by searching for The Writer's Mindset.
And don't forget to come join us over on Patreon for our bonus series, Healthy Habits.
See you next time.
Keep writing!